Before there was Martin and Lewis or Abbott and Costello, there was Laurel and Hardy. Lee Cowan takes us back.
Not far from LA's famed Sunset Boulevard sits an old flight of stairs. Remarkable in that, one, it's still there, and two, has a name, the Music Box Steps.
That's the house up there, right on top of the stoop.
That long, long staircase was the stage for one of Hollywood's funniest gags, imagined by one of its funniest duos, Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy.
If he'd have said one more word to me, I would have...
The Music Box won an Oscar in 1933, the first Academy Award ever given for a live-action short.
People ask me, like, when did you become aware of Laurel and Hardy? And I say, well, when did you become aware of Salt and Pepper?
Yeah.
They're just always been there.
Actors John C. Reilly and Steve Coogan are huge Laurel and Hardy fans. But that made them more than a little nervous.
Hold this.
To portray their comic heroes in a new film, Stan and Ollie.
Do we really need that trunk?
I felt a little proprietorial about him in some ways. I feel like I'm not going to let anyone else get their dirty hands on this role because I feel like, despite my anxiety about it, I wanted to have a go.
Here we are, the Eiffel Tower.
The film focuses on the team's later years, when they embarked on a stage tour of the UK back in 1953.
I am lonesome for you.
And some of the theaters where we shot this film, those were the theaters where they performed.
Yeah.
So we were literally like channeling these guys in the places where they performed. It was a pretty heady experience, I have to say. Being a fan of these guys, it was very special.
Their likeness to them is uncanny. Reilly, who's up for a Golden Globe for his performance, had to spend 4 hours every day in makeup just to achieve Hardy's 250-pound appearance. For director John S. Baird, the challenge wasn't just their looks, but getting the laughs, too.
I mean, it looks very effortless, and it looks like they're just making it up as they go. But for that comedy timing to work, you have to be so on point, you know.
Laurel and Hardy didn't invent slapstick, but they refined it. They made it charming, almost elegant, inspiring generations of comedians that followed.
I just loved them when I was a kid. I'd go to the Saturday movies and stay till my mother came and got me.
Dick Van Dyke's home in Malibu is covered with pictures of Laurel and Hardy. He became friends with Laurel after he found him listed in the phone book and just called him to ask for advice.
When I talked to him on the phone, I said, Mr. Laurel, you know, I've always admired you, and I'm afraid I've stolen from you. And he said, yes, I know.
You got caught. Although he rarely got the credit, Stan Laurel wrote nearly every routine for the pair. A good-natured workaholic that had a gentleness about him that shined through in his work.
I was reading something recently that my great-grandfather had written, that it was a letter from the studios and they wanted him to do something that he replied saying, if you can't play it in Sunday school, I won't do it. So you have Ida.
Yes, Cassidy Cook is Stan Laurel's great-granddaughter.
People say I look like him. I mean, if I told you how many people ask me to scrunch up my forehead and my chin, and I'll do it because I get a kick out of it too. I mean.
So what does it look like?
No, I'm not doing it now.
We met her at the Pig and Whistle, an old LA haunt that still has that old Hollywood feel.
And then this is them dancing together, doing a little jig.
Did a lot of dancing together, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Every story she ever heard about her great-grandfather also included stories about Babe, Laurel's nickname for Hardy.
He really loved Babe. I mean, they were so close. I mean, so few duos of that time actually liked each other, and they did.
Which is why she says they never stopped performing, even when ill health and old age started to get the better of them. Hardy went first in 1957, leaving Laurel inconsolable. In fact, he kept writing material for the both of them until the day he died. nearly 8 years later.
He was so in love with Ollie and Laurel and Hardy that he couldn't give that up, you know.
Knowing that it wasn't really going to go anywhere.
No, and it was never, ever going to get seen, yeah.
It's not just the new movie that has people talking about Laurel and Hardy again. An appreciation society called Sons of the Desert, which has hundreds of chapters all around the world, still gathers regularly to pay homage to the duo's genius.
Having the time of our lives, marching along to
They were two of a kind that really were one of a kind. And while it's the laughs we remember,
well, here's another nice mess you've gotten me into.
their simple love of one another is what made all those laughs possible.
Ollie, is that really you? Of course it's me. Gee, I'm glad to see you.
Show me my respect and bow down.
You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be.
The revolution will not be televised.
Show me my respect.